Sorry, the network went very bad, and I have to restart and all of that. So we have to, begin from where we stopped. But before we continue, I'm going to play that video of Mazin Amdekano and talking to us about the weakness of the mind. You see, we're looking at the mind. The British began with the concept of destroying our mind, giving us a wrong impression about who we are and what we represent. And I began to tell you about how they did that. All they needed to do is to create or design a program, a corrupt program for a period of time in that frame where in that notion that within 100 years we're going to have a system that will destroy the mind mentality of the people, and before you know it, the people will begin to hold on to Nigeria. The people will now begin to get bastardized by their mindset. Now most of the problems, in fact 99% of the problems we face today, why we are fighting ourselves, why we see people supporting evil, why people support impunity, is because of the it is a byproduct of the Nigeria contraption. It's a byproduct of what has happened to us in Nigeria. The reason why you will find somebody today tell you that you shouldn't talk about accountability, the reason why you'll find somebody today tell you that you shouldn't talk about your freedom, the reason why you see somebody tell you that you should allow things just be, the reason why you should say people just overlook important things that all over the nations of the world people look at as very critical. For instance, I was giving you an analogy of Donald Trump. Donald Trump three days ago was brought out and was charged with criminal and was brought to court for criminal charges against him, and he had to defend himself. Now, the reason why we have a system where people look at criminality and yet tomorrow they're going to say it doesn't matter, let's just go on, is because the Nigeria system has destroyed our mindset. And Mazin Amdekano said our people are destroyed, their mind, they are destroyed in the mind. That is why he said they are weak and imbecilic. I'm going to play that video of Mazin and that audio of Mazin Amdekano again because I want you to get the facts right, and then we can continue the analogy from there. Just listen to it briefly.
Because what I am saying on Abumanyamini, our people are lame. They are weak. I am struggling to count how many men there are in Biafra land. There are no more men left. Weak, docile, and imbecilic. Weak. I don't know how we can take such people to war. I don't know how we can take men who are not men into battle and win. I am ashamed. Very, very ashamed. Nonetheless, we must preach this very gospel because man did not ask us to come. Chukwu Abiyama in heaven mandated that we should come. If not, that I was called to do this very work, I will not speak to any of you anymore. But Chukwu Abiyama said this very gospel must be preached, and we must preach it. I have prayed since yesterday up until now. My request is very simple. The same prayer I made in secret, I will make out here in the open. Chukwu Abiyama Biko, since it is your intention that your kingdom will be restored upon this very earth, I need men. I need men. I did not say boys. I said I need men. Those of them that you created to restore your kingdom, they should come forward now, not tomorrow, not next year.
Now, did you hear Mazin Amdekano critically in that broadcast? He said, Chukwu Okike Abiyama, since it is your intention that your kingdom must be restored, I need men. Now, some of you will be thinking that when Mazin Amdekano says that when he needs men, he's talking about able-bodied men, men with chests, coming up, gym. You have gone to gym and you are able-bodied and you are coming and, they say, yes, we have men, and then we have many of them in Biafra land. We have people who wake up in the morning very early, they go to gym. We have so many people. all over diaspora, where the able-bodied people, at least when I was young too, I'm not old anyways, but at least younger, I used to gym. I had this frame, and of that, that's what we used to, those days, all those in secondary school, you see all those girls who want to be around you because you gym. Now, see, Mazin Namdekano was not talking about people who have chest and able body. When he says, I need men, he's talking about men, the mind. People who have come to understand what it means to be free. People who have gotten his preaching to their mind. People who have been changed by the preaching he had been doing all these years. People who now come to understand what it means to fight for freedom by the renewing of their mind, by the transformation that has happened in their mind. Now, this is where our freedom lies. The easiest way to end Nigeria is to get the men who are transformed in their mind Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is talking about. The reason why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in custody today is because we don't have men. Not because we don't have able-bodied men with chests, muscles everywhere. We have them everywhere. Go on social media, you see them. Some of them displaying their chest and everything on social media. No. Go around, you see them. The world is not changed by people who have huge chests. The world is changed by people who have what it takes. Look at somebody like Bill Gates. Look at somebody like Zuckerberg. Are they OB people? They are just slim people, just going their normal business. Their mind. Look at somebody like Steve Hawkins, who died in 2018 or so. Some of you know Stephen Hawkins, the guru, the scientist, the guru. Although he said so many things about against God who didn't make sense about scripture and all of that, because he was contradicting himself. Thank you so much, Edith Nedu. Thanks for welcoming me back. It was a terrible one for me there. These men have what it takes. Somebody was saying when they were talking about Stephen Hawkins, about 3 days ago or so, when he was being talked about on Witness History on BBC, and somebody was saying that when he heard about him, saw his an article about him on one of the newspapers in Britain or so, the person was shocked when he saw Stephen Hawkins. He had this multiple neurosis or something like that, where he's he's now paralyzed. He cannot move his body. He's just kept in a wheelchair. At 21, I think he got that disease at the age of 21, and he now operates from the sitting on his chair, cannot move, and he only uses a sensor to move his chair around and all of that. When he wants to speak, he cannot speak. So they had to create a kind of technological device and system that is attached to his seat. Whatever he wants to say, the technology. Oh my God, people are intelligent. The technology will go through and get the information by signals from his brain. And then it will speak what he has to say from some connected to some, maybe from his vocal point of view. I mean, from his vocal stuff and connection to his brain and all of that. The signal gives you what Hawkins wants to say, and it speaks what he wants to say, even if his mouth cannot say it. So Stephen Hawkins go and browse Stephen Hawkins and watch some of the clips where the computer is speaking what he wants to say, which he cannot speak by his mouth based on the disease. It was just the man said that when he saw this small body, this great mind trapped in this small body, he was shocked. He said, look at a great mind trapped in a small body and kept in a wheelchair. Greatness has nothing to do with your physical appearance. Because if it is physical appearance, Fulani cannot get this far with us. We have huge people. We have able-bodied men more than the Fulanis. Don't you see them? Don't you see their foot soldiers carrying AK-47? Lanky people. Look at those their people carrying cattle everywhere. Look at how they look. It is not about your build. It's about what you have here. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, that, Lord, give me men. He didn't say, give me able-bodied men that have muscles. He said, give me men. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu saw men everywhere, but yet he was looking for men. You know why? He was looking for people whose mind has been transformed by the gospel he was preaching over the years. People who have come to acknowledge what it means to be accountable. People who have come to acknowledge what it means to be transparent. People who have come to acknowledge what it means to fight for their freedom through truth and upholding the truth. People who have come to acknowledge to be tough and stand against corruption. People who have come to understand that no matter what, how much they are paid, they will not be corrupted. People who have come to understand that it takes them to be dedicated and continuously persistent and holding on to the truth and the gospel of truth. People who have come to understand that it takes them to be dedicated to the truth to pursue the cause of freedom. Not people who are able-bodied, whose body just have the physique. No. Some of us just read it. Lord, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was saying, I need men. You don't, it is not about the physique. It is not about what people see physically. It is about what the people can acknowledge in people, no matter how they look. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was asking for men. The reason why Nigeria is still sustained today because there are no men. If there were men, we're not going to have people talk about Peter Obi. If our people were men in their mind, nobody would have patronized the concept of Peter Obi. No Biafran would have talked about Peter Obi. No Biafran would have embraced Peter Obi. Our people, because of the bastardized nature of their mindset, all that Peter Obi did, killing Biafrans, they forgot it. You know why? The Nigeria system had designed a corrupt system in their mind and put virus into their minds so that when people get corrupt, the people forget the corruption of the people who are corrupt just in the space of seconds. Somebody commits crime right now, the people undermine the crime. They look at the person. If the person is someone they are emotionally attached with, they undermine the crime. It doesn't matter what that person does, it doesn't matter. They are concerned about, hey, that is my man, leave my man alone. In spite of the criminality of Peter Obi, in spite of the criminality of Buhari, in spite of the criminality of Tinubu, people pursued to vote them at different levels from different political parties. Even the Nigeria corruption, which is already a corrupt system, endorsed them to head to be their candidates for their political parties. I'm taking you somewhere. I want you to understand this. Now I'm going to play that voice of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu again to the point where I stopped it again. I want you to digest it, not just the information. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said he's crying. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, I am crying. I am shedding tears. Now I want you to listen to his voice again. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was talking about men, he was not talking about muscle built men, people with muscles. If it is that, then there was no need for any kind of, he doesn't need to search too long. He would find them everywhere. He'll find them everywhere. So let me play the video again so that you can. Thank you so much, Adazayon. He says, welcome back. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now listen to that video again. Listen to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and listen with your mind's eye or your mind's ears or your mind's sensitivity, your sensuality. The totality of your sensuality, both your eyes, your nose, your mouth, everything that has to do with your sensuality. Let them translate and just send the right message to your mind to understand what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is talking about here. Listen.
Because what I am saying on Abumanyamini, our people are lame. They are weak. I am struggling to count how many men there are in Biafra land. There are no more men left. Weak, docile, and imbecilic. Weak, I don't know how we can take such people to war. I don't know how we can take men who are not men into battle and win. I am ashamed. Very, very ashamed. Nonetheless, we must preach this very gospel because man did not ask us to come. Chukwu Abiyama in heaven mandated that we should come. If not, that I was called to do this very work, I will not speak to any of you anymore. But Chukwu Abiyama said this very gospel must be preached, and we must preach it. I have prayed since yesterday up until now. My request is very simple. The same prayer I made in secret, I will make out here in the open. Chukwu Abiyama biko. Since it is your intention that your kingdom will be restored upon this very earth, I need men. I need men. I did not say boys. I said I need men. Those of them that you created to restore your kingdom, they should come forward now, not tomorrow, not next year. Chukwu Abiyama. You must bring them now. I did not say tomorrow.
Since it is your intention that your kingdom must be restored, I need men. I need men. Now, the problem here, the description of men here talks about people who have now been reorganized in their mind, people who have now become influenced in their mind by the gospel God gave to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to preach all through the years he was preaching until the action began. So when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was talking about he needs men, he was not talking about people with muscles, no, because they are everywhere. He was talking about people who have been transformed by the renewing of their mind through the gospel of freedom that God gave him to preach. Remember, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu started the preaching, I think in 2010 or so, began heavily preaching and speaking and teaching, and the people, or 2009 or 8, I can't remember now, 2009 or so, and the people were being transformed in their mind, not in their physical, their stature or whatever. Whenever you hear that people get better, it is not because they now gain more muscles. No, it's not because they ate good food and they become muscly. No, when you hear of people getting better, I gave you the analysis of Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking at 21 got this neuron disease or something, and he was confined to a wheelchair, a computerized wheelchair. On that wheelchair, he could only speak through a computer. That means the computer intelligently, the AI formation in the computer gets details and formation, get the sensual signal from his vocal composition and from his brain, what he wants to actually say. And the computer speaks it on his behalf, says it. So when you ask Hawkins a question, since he's restricted to that chair, you ask him a question, rather than Hawkins speaking with his mouth, the computer will be speaking what he has in mind to say. Who created that system? Human beings. Is it because the person have OB? No. But because the person has in the head, in the mind. Hawkins, somebody said that when he looked at Hawkins, when he got the information about Hawkins, and he met Hawkins, seeing this little man in a wheelchair, in a computerized wheelchair, with a great mind trapped in this little man. That moved me. I said, wow, a great analogy. A great mind, a guru trapped in a small body. So when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is asking for men, asking Chukwu Abiyama for men, he's asking for people like you and I who have been transformed in our mind, not people who have muscles. People who have, over time, when he was preaching about the gospel, they are no more concerned about criminality. They are no more thinking about how they're going to steal Biafra money. They are no more thinking about how they are going to get people to be brainwashed so that nobody will ask for accountability. They are no more thinking there are no more people who are going to be say, hey, this person is my person. You cannot ask him questions. There are no more people who are going to now begin to think, when you get yourself transformed in your mind, you will face Biafra program with all sincerity and truth. Now that becomes the antidote, or that becomes the antivirus to the virus that Nigeria is. Now, most of us who are shouting Biafra, Biafra, were not truly bought or rejuvenated or refined in our mind with the concept and the doctrine of Biafra. And that was why when somebody like Peter Obi came on board, we dropped the concept of the gospel. We jumped over and embraced the man. Now, let me give you that description in the light of Jesus Christ and Barnabas, whom they brought before the people, and they said, choose between Barnabas and Christ. The people were thinking of somebody who can fight war for them. They were thinking of a rugged person. They were looking for somebody who is a criminal, who they can pick. They believe that for the Roman Empire to crumble, they need people like Barnabas. They need criminals to support them, to help them. They need people like Barnabas to deliver them from the hands of the Romans. Because remember, as at that time, the Roman Empire was controlling Israel. And the Roman Empire was the world empire then, and Israel was under the Roman Empire. So when Caesar was in control, people like Herod were under Caesar, or people like Pilate was under Caesar. So when they told Pilate that if you don't give us Jesus and if you don't allow him to be killed and give him over to us, you are no more a friend of Caesar. And Caesar was the head of the Roman Empire as at then, because the Roman Empire was in charge of the world then. That means those that were in control of the world as at that time, putting Israel under subjugation. Because the world empire, we talk about then when we refer to these world empires, there were several empires anyways, but those ones that oppressed Israel are the ones being referred as at that time as empires that are world empires, defined in scripture. We had other empires, of course, but they were not as strong as these ones because these ones controlled Israel, and all of that. So when Barnabas was brought and Jesus was brought, Jesus had the gospel of truth. Barnabas was a criminal. He was criminal. He was so criminal that he was supposed to be killed. But you know what the people did? Just like they are doing today, we the Jews, we of course from the Jewish lineage, the same template we play. When Peter Obi showed up, the people left Mazin Ambekano in jail, said they need Peter Obi. Peter Obi is a criminal. Peter Obi had done so many criminality and done so many evil, killed our people, fought against our people, stolen the resources of the people. The people said no, they need Peter Obi. The same way also they said they needed Barnabas. Their impression then was that Barnabas is a radical man. Barnabas is part of the criminality. Barnabas is a corrupt man. So for them to be delivered from the hands of the Roman Empire, they need criminals like Barnabas. The same way also our people say that for them to be delivered, to get the loot from Nigeria, they need criminals like Peter Obi. For them to get themselves to be saved from Nigeria, they need criminality to be delivered from criminality. So they endorse Peter Obi as a criminal to help them save themselves from criminality. How can you get positivity from negativity? No, it's not possible. How can you get lies to save you from lies? No, it's not possible. You can only be further plunged into the cagey dingy dungeon of lies when you patronize the concept of lies. That is why when you see people who talk about lies and who patronize lies or who lie, they need another lie to cover that lie, to continue to cover themselves and cover their tracks in the line of lie. That is why Peter Obi cannot be the one to rescue anybody and save anybody and give anybody Biafra. Peter Obi will only help you to plunge yourself more further into the dungeon of lies and to be crushed by the Fulanis. That is his mission. That is what he's programmed to do. Because he's a liar and he has lies in him, he submitted himself to the concept of lies by going to the Sultan of Sokoto to bow to him and to dress like them and tell them that their interest to be covered, and went to Chatham House in Britain, and all the places he patronized were the places of lies. So there was no way Peter Obi can give you the gospel of truth by being a liar. There was no way Peter Obi would have been able to do the right thing by sitting on the seat of wrong and lies. That was what our people were getting. But because Nigeria have been designed to corrupt the minds of the people with that virus of lies and that virus of self-hate and destruction, they keep believing in lies at all times. And that is why even some of those who got the message of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who just understood Biafra, they were not truly bought into the concept of the truth. And so they kept patronizing lies. And that is why when you talk about transparency, they fight you, because they are still plunged and hooked to the doctrine of the composition of Nigeria. Nigeria is an edifice of lies and corruption. Nigeria is a structure and a system of lies. Barabbas, yes, he is Barabbas, not Barnabas. There is a difference. Barnabas is the one with Paul, you know. Barabbas, yes. Barabbas was the criminal. You know, people will see truth and they will go after lies. How do you feel that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did all of these things and told the people, you will not disappoint I will not disappoint you, you will disappoint me? And he got caught, tortured for 8 days, extraordinarily renditioned, and kept in the jail of the enemy. The same people who know that their enemies are holding their brother who is fighting for them in jail still go ahead to present another of their brother whom they say is a criminal, whom they know is a criminal, present him and say that he is going to be the one to deliver them from the hands of the criminals that this their brother adores and worship. They left Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in jail. Just like they left Jesus, they said, no, crucify him, kill that one. The same way also our people left Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in jail. And what does it mean to leave him in jail? Kill him. We don't need him. Some people try to encourage themselves by saying, and when Peter Obi comes, he's going to give them Biafra. Nigeria has bastardized the mindset of our people. Like, I wonder how somebody would think that somebody who is politically a henchman to the criminals who are on whose auspices he is trying to become a president will now come and give them that thing that he killed them for. Oh my God. Happy birthday, Kelechi. Wish you a restored Biafra and immediate release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. May the God Almighty direct your path in truth and honesty. Thank you so much, Gomba. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. See, my brother, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Satan, the fire of lies, is the ruler of the earth. And that's it, fundamentally. But how is it? Now, ask yourself a question. I want to ask people to ask ourselves a question, because we're looking at the easiest way to end Nigeria. If Nigeria does not end in you, you can never end Nigeria in the physical. If Nigeria does not end in you, if there's nothing you don't remember in this broadcast, just remember this. If you don't end Nigeria in the realm of your mind, you cannot get Nigeria and enter into Nigeria in the physical. There is nothing that comes to you that is positive or negative that does not first get programmed in your mind. Somebody like Job said, that thing that I fear has come over me. It is what you conceive in your mind to do that manifests in the physical. Do you know why people could do great things and technology is advancing? Because people had creative abilities in the realm of their minds. Do you know why I'm speaking this way I'm speaking right now? It's because the things come to the realm of my mind and I speak to you. There's no way I can voice out anything if it is first not composed in my mind. Do you know why you choose to type and send the messages you send? It's because in your mind, the abundance of your heart, you send the message. Do you know why you chose to dress the way you dress today? It's because your mindset gives you that impression of how you want to look. Everything we do has to do with our mindset. And so, if you don't destroy Nigeria in your mind, that is why we have people who are living in diaspora today and they are still fighting accountability. They are still telling you, why are you asking for accountability? They are still telling you, why are you asking Simon and Co to be accountable? Why are you asking Azuka to be accountable? They are still fighting you. You know why? Nigeria is still in their mind because they were born in Nigeria. They have identified with Nigeria for a long time. And everything that has to do with them is composed, designed. They eat in Nigeria, they sleep in Nigeria, they did everything in Nigeria, and they traveled from Nigeria, and everything about them is Nigeria. And because Nigeria is a design of lies and of evil, they tend to walk in that mindset because that mindset have not been dragged out of them, even if Mazin Amdegana kind of preached all these years. There's a need for forceful exhuming. Let me use the word exhume. Forceful exhuming of that mindset of Nigeria. Now, you remember, when there's a formation from childhood, you have a pattern of reasoning. When you come to adulthood, it is difficult to change it. Now, take a child born in Nigeria, for instance. Give birth to a child right now and travel with that child to US, maybe at the age of, let's say, after 6 months or so. Take that child to the US. You'll discover that the mentality of the child will be different. Just have 2 children now, and let one be in Nigeria, and let one be, take one, the other one to America. Now, check them out in the next 5 years. You'll discover the difference, even if they are twins. You will discover the difference between that one in Nigeria and that one in US. You know why? The orientation, the indoctrination, the program, everything that that person does based on environment, based on system, based on what they grew up to understand, based on garbage in, what is put in them, that determines how and what they garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. Now, the reason why Nigeria is sustained is because most people are garbaging out what has been garbaged in by Nigeria. They didn't get rid of it. They didn't destroy it. They didn't take it off. They didn't cut it off. They didn't exhume it. They didn't destroy that mindset. They only left it in their subconsciousness. And anytime there is an action, anytime there is a program, they garbage out what is still in them, which is the Nigeria program. That is why the people went for Mazin. People went for Peter Obi. That is why some people today are telling you that Simon cannot give account. That's why some people can tell you today that Azuka should not give account. That is why people can tell you today that Ngozi Rabueze is okay, even if she's working for the Nigeria government. That is why some people can endorse impunity. You know why? Because they have not gotten rid of that Nigeria in them. They are used to the Nigeria system that is actually corrupted and that is actually designed to make you continue in the system or in the structure that is faulted. Remember, I told you that the Nigeria system was composed, the Nigeria system was designed, and it was given a brand name, Nigeria. Now, that brand name is corrupted in the sense that they use that brand name to create an impression in your mind to think that a nation is what Nigeria represents. So, because that brand name needs to be put in you, garbaged into you, so that you can begin to absorb everything that comes with that name, Nigeria, into you as a nation. Because when you talk about nation, you are talking about the people. So when they tell you Nigeria is a nation, you uphold that as you uphold that as you uphold that as a nation. You uphold that as a nation. You want to, you just you just see it as, because you need. It's just like when they tell you that this is water. Once that name registers in your mind, it is water. And you ask, is it drinkable? You say, yes, it's drinkable. You can now take the water and drink. You know why? The name of that product has been registered in your mind. And of course, you know water to be good. And once it is confirmed that water is good for your health, you want to drink it. Once you are told that even if it looks like water and you are told it's acid, you will not drink it because the brand name tells you that it is not good for your body. But if your eyes are closed and they tell you this is water and you drink it and then it harms you, at that point in time, you now know that you have taken something wrong. So it harms you. The same way also, they need to brand that, give you that brand name called Nigeria. It is that brand name, Nigeria, that becomes the product registered in your mind as thinking of a nation. As thinking of a nation. Nigeria, nation. Nigeria, our country. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest. How can you be honest to dishonesty? Because in the bid to be honest to dishonesty, you actually express dishonesty. Because you need to be crooked to actually stand on a path of crookedness. If you want to rest on something that is bent, you have to bend yourself to rest on it, right? Which means that to go the way of Nigeria, you must have the formation or have the image of Nigeria. That means if Nigeria is this way, you have to lie on Nigeria, you must lie that way Nigeria is. So that is what happens. So they tell you that arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call, obey, to serve our fatherland with love, one nation bound in freedom. The mentality of nationhood. So because of that word nation, as you always think, that is why you see all these academicians, wherever they go, they say our nation, Nigeria, our country, Nigeria, our nation. You know, this nation, we must preserve this nation. In spite of the fact that they have gone to schools to read the intellectual submission of other people, you know, through schools and get certificates based on the intellectual capacity of other people, and they cannot exude their own intelligence because their intelligence is in comatose based on the fact that they were brought up in Nigeria and they were structured in Nigeria, and Nigeria has destroyed their mindset. That has become the problem. So even when they go to schools to study, they study academic details, and without understanding that their intellectual side is necessary to process the information that they get from the academic world. And so they get the information from the academic world, but their intellectual composition is dormant, is static, is stationary. It's not functional. You know why? Nigeria is a structure that keeps you in comatose intellectually and propagates or influences you or try to motivate you to seek after academic knowledge, because that academic knowledge is actually composed by these same people who are colonizing you. So because these same people who are colonizing you have done this submission academically, they use the concept of making you go comatose in your intellectual level by giving you anthems and pledges and exercises that will make you continue propagating a wrong narrative like Nigeria, which is calling it a nation. And once you begin to patronize the lies and the lies of Nigeria, what you begin to do is that you will not reason right anymore. So which means your intellectual side becomes dormant. Your academic side begin to control your emotional side and misappropriate your intellectual side. So all you do is that every way you reason goes towards that academic emotional control. And on that platter, you begin to think contrary to proper reasoning. That is why you can find somebody who would look at something that is white and say, no, this is not white, this is black. That is why you can find somebody who is even living abroad and you are asking for accountability. You are saying we want people to give account of what they are doing. They tell you, no, it is not possible. If they can't give account, how much have you given? How much have you contributed? Because you know why? Nigeria has destroyed their mindset. There is no way you can get Biafra living in the mindset of Nigeria. So the easiest way to end Nigeria is to first end Nigeria in your mind. That is the easiest way That was why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, Lord, give me men. Chukwokike, give me men. He was talking about people whose mindset have become devoid of Nigeria, whose mindset now think truth, whose mindset now think white and whiter than snow, whose mindset now think justice, whose mindset now think accountability, whose mindset now think transparency. The same way he lived to that standard of transparency, and which he showed a good example, showed to us, the same way also he wants the mind to be. The same way. The same way he wants the people, he wants the kinds of people he wants God to give to him. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was asking for men that have been transformed in their mind. Because the only way he said the kingdom will come, he said, since you want the kingdom to come, that means since you want Nigeria to end, give me men. He said, since you want Nigeria to come, he said, Chukwokike, you saw the stuff I played. He said, Chukwokike, since you want Nigeria to come, give me men. That means give me the people whose mindsets are devoid of the doctrines of Nigeria, the principles of Nigeria, the structure of Nigeria. People who will look at lies and say, yes, this is lies. People who look at truth and say, yes, this is truth. People who will see lies and call it what it is. People who will see truth and call it what it is. People who will not fight themselves and promote Nigeria in their actions and behaviors. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was asking for men of truth. Let me play it again to that point. I'll play it again because faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And as you keep hearing, you get the truth. Listen.
Because what I am saying on Abumanyamini, our people are lame. They are weak. I am struggling to count how many men there are in Biafra land. There are no more men left. Weak, docile, and imbecilic. Weak. I don't know how we can take such people to war. I don't know how we can take men who are not men into battle and win. I am ashamed. Very, very ashamed. Nonetheless, we must preach this very gospel because man did not ask us to come. Chukwu Abịama in heaven mandated that we should come. If not, that I was called to do this very work, I will not speak to any of you anymore. But Chukwu Abịama said this very gospel must be preached, and we must preach it. I have prayed since yesterday up until now. My request is very simple. The same prayer I made in secret, I will make out here in the open. Chukwu Abịama biko. Since it is your intention that your kingdom will be restored upon this very earth, I need men. I need men. I did not say boys. I said I need men. Those of them that you created to restore your kingdom, they should come forward now, not tomorrow, not next year.
Now, did you get the message? Now, since it is your intention that your kingdom will be restored, I need men. Now, ask yourself this question. Why would Mazi Nnamdi Kanu see all the able-bodied men in Biafra land with their chest and everything, and young boys, who like to flaunt themselves, and who like to, show their ego and all of that? People who want to say, yes, they are men, they sag, they put their trousers on their legs. Why did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu see all of these and was asking Chukwokike to give him men? That's a simple question. Simple. He needed people whose mindsets have been transformed. He said, since it is your intention, that means the only way the kingdom of God will be restored, the only way Biafra can be restored is only when truthful people come on board. The only way Biafra can be restored is only when truthful people, not people in activity, because you can be in activity yet dormant. Let me explain that. One can be in activity yet dormant. That is why you see that people, so many people also in their in their daily lives, they are busy but they are dormant. They are not making any headway. You know why? Because they are doing things not appropriate, or things of no priority, or things that are contrary to what they are supposed to do in their life. Anybody who is pursuing a purpose that does not conform with who they are in activity but yet dormant, because they are not fulfilling purpose. So it is possible to be in activity yet being dormant. That is why you can see people like the members of the GOS. They are busy, they are in activity, they hold family meetings, they do everything, but yet they are dormant because there's no progress being made. The only way you can get progress is not by activity, but by being in activity in activity. That means you are carrying out activity in activity. That means you understand the purpose, which is the first point of reference to your activity, and which determines and defines your activity in action. Which means in the process of carrying out this activity, you are connected to the purpose, which spells out your activity as a noun. So you can be active yet you are dormant. Some of us are working where we're not supposed to be working. You wake up every morning, you go to work, but you are dormant because you are carrying out a program that you are not happy with, that you are not fulfilled in, that you are not succeeding in, that you are not happy with. Anytime you find yourself doing something that you are not happy about and you are not enjoying, for instance, some people are gifted, they are gifted musicians, but because they don't have the opportunity, they find themselves, they don't have the opportunity to express themselves. They find themselves in area where they are maybe selling crayfish in the market, and they are doing it. They are not happy because they are not fulfilling their mission in life. They are in activity yet they are dormant because they are only carrying out activities in the state of dormancy. But you can also be dormant in activity. Let me explain that. You can be dormant in activity in the sense that you are not yet doing what you are not yet having the opportunity now to do what you need to do, but you are already designing the template and doing everything, preparing yourself mentally in other ways, so that when that opportunity comes, you are going to get into it quickly, because it is only preparation that recognizes opportunity. Your place, your time of preparation is a time of dormancy, because at that point of dormancy, you are in activity. Sorry, your place of is a time of activity, because in that point of activity, you might not have gotten the opportunity or the privilege or the opportunity to cash into it. For instance, if you let me give you an instance. Let me give you this design. As a musician, let me give you an analogy using music, because as a musician, I can use that to explain to you. When you talk about an orchestra, you talk about a group a group of musicians playing different instruments: the oboe, the flutes, the drums, the tambourine, the trumpets, the saxophone, the trombone, and other things. You know, all of that, and the guitar, the lead guitar, the bass guitar, the rhythm guitar, all of these stuff represented, the herb and all of that, all of them represented in a symphony. And you have the symphonic choir also in, or there also. Sometimes you have a choir, sometimes you don't have a choir. So that symphony is there. Thank you so much, Jerry Kenichukwu. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And now, now in that symphony, remember, everybody, if you observe every symphony or every good music and band presenting, you will discover that they always have scripts before them. That means the music is written. So they will have to sight read, or sight, for those who are singing, to sight sing too. So they read the process of their what they play, and they know when to come in, because everything have been programmed. So every instrument knows when to come in and when not to come in. And you will discover something, that anytime in an orchestra, maybe in a very great show, orchestra show, you will discover that there's this stuff we call it's called the lead lights. When you come to an orchestra, an auditorium where you have the lighting, and then you have the lead lights. I've forgotten what's the name now, what you call it now. okay, let me just call it the lead light. That light that spots the person who is carrying out an action at a particular time. For instance, if anybody who is doing the lead singing, the light captures that person. The light goes with the person everywhere. And maybe if the bassist want to play, the light faces the bassist and is taking the bassist. Now, in an orchestra, you will discover that everybody is playing the particular music. But at a point in time, if it is the turn of the bassist now to speak or prophesy using his instrument, we call it prof. I always use the word. I say bassist prophesy. We have this way we swag. When we do music, he said, "Let me hear the keyboard prophesy, and let me hear the bass prophesy." What it means to prophesy simply means to speak. That's what it means. But speaking rightly, anyways, according to order. Now, when it is time for the bassist, for instance, to prophesy, other musicians are playing in accordance with the music. But it is now the time for the bassist to play. Suddenly, the lead light is focused on the bassist, and the bassist begin to play his lines as at that time. Now, remember, in spite of the fact that the whole band is playing, the bassist is focused on, because that is his turn to express himself, to express his line to the people. Now, you know why? Even if the bassist was expressing himself at that point in time, there was a time it was not his turn to express himself, but he was preparing based on the fact that the music was on. That was the time of dormancy. Then the time of activity for him becomes that time. It becomes his turn to play his line when the lead light is focused on him, when the lead light is focused on him. It becomes the time of cynosure of the whole music. He now represents the face of the music at that time. Then suddenly the light goes off when he finishes that stuff, and it goes to the keyboardist or the pianist. The pianist now takes his lines. Now, everybody who has his turn to carry out a particular progression, maybe if it's not a progression, then a particular line, or play a particular scale at a particular line at a particular time, you discover that the lead light focuses on them. At that point in time, it becomes their activity, even if in the midst of the whole music, everybody seems to be dormant, playing their lines at that particular time. So it simply means that also that you can be in activity and yet you are dormant, which means you are working and doing what you're not supposed to. For instance, in that orchestra, if the bassist plays his music when it is not his turn to play, he has gone out of the organized music progression or music composition. So he has missed it, he has scattered the whole thing, and he's being in activity even if he's supposed to be dormant at that time, which means he has missed it. Now, when you find yourself as extraordinary rendition in activity, to be doing things that will of jail, but rather than doing the things that will bring Mazi Nnamdi Kanu out of jail, they were busy doing things contrary. Those things they were doing, they were busy. That means they were in activity, but they were dormant, because what they were doing was not promoting the purpose of what they represented, the purpose of Biafra. They were busy sacking people. They were busy, stealing resources. They were busy doing so many things. They were busy in activity, but yet dormant, because every of the activity they were carrying out at that particular time was not for the purpose of Biafra. So they were dormant in the actual purpose, but in activity in error. So activity does not always mean that you are right, or you are making progress, or you are actually doing the right thing. But activity towards the purpose of why you are doing a thing, or activity that is streamlined critically on direction of purpose, is what spells out the fact that you are actually not dormant. But you can also be dormant in activity. For instance, right now, the accountability group is busy setting structures. Nobody is hearing what we're doing. Nobody is hearing what we're doing. We are setting structures. We are designing structures. Today we held meeting again. We set our structure. And what we are saying now today is that some people are criticizing us. Some people are calling us criminals. Some people are calling us so many names. Some other people, rather than concentrate on what they are supposed to be doing, they are prognosing, looking for who is going to spy into the group and all of that. But yet we are busy, we are dormant, but yet we are in activity. That means inactivity in the sense that in our meetings and all of that, we are setting the structure, we are laying the precepts, we are laying the design, the templates that will help us get Biafra. We are putting everything on ground that will help us get results. But yet we are dormant because we have not actually come all out and give you the template and then begin to carry the actions physically, or to your bring them to your attention, and then we begin to bring them out and carry them out, and that means executing them now, in the real fact of execution, executing, sorry. Now, but we are busy, we are in activity, even if we are dormant. What it means is that we have not come to the actual implementation or execution of these things we are planning. The point of execution is the point of activity in activity. But the point of preparation is the point of activity in dormancy. Because in dormancy, you are kept in a place. You have to, it's just like what Mazin Nambikano was doing to us. Before Mazin Nambikano brought out ESN, Mazin Nambikano was busy teaching us. Now he was in activity, yet he was dormant. Because as at that time, he was setting the structure, he was setting the DOS, he was setting the state reps and all of that, and he was setting the department, he was setting the structure, and he was teaching. At that point in time, we had not actually gone into the raising of the dragon flag and the critical execution of Biafra program. But we were executing Biafra program by setting the structure. So Mazin Nambikano was busy erecting the DOS and setting up the different departments that will take care of different things, and setting all of this stuff, even if those who were there around him then were criminals, and of course he had to still use these people, thinking that they would, over time, as he preaches, get to understand, but yet they didn't, because they don't have the spirit of Biafra in them. And so he kept speaking, preparing people. He was dormant, but yet in activity. Because at this point of dormancy, he was preparing the grounds. At the point of dormancy, you are preparing the grounds, especially when you are dormant in activity. Not dormant in dormancy or dormant in dormancy. No. When you're dormant in dormancy, that means you have not seen the opportunity yet to come out, yet you are not preparing yourself. Some of us, because of the destruction Nigeria have done to our mindset, we are dormant in dormancy. We have not got the opportunity to be part of those who would talk about Biafra. Yet we are not preparing ourselves for the actual manifestation of Biafra. So when you see people who are fighting to set the right structure for Biafra, you fight them. Because all that Mazin Nambikano said to you was rubbish. All the teaching made no sense to you, because you didn't understand what Mazin Nambikano was talking about. You didn't understand that when Mazin Nambikano was saying that Chukwokike, since it is your intention that the kingdom of Biafra and your kingdom must be restored here on earth, which is Biafra, please, I need men. Send the men now. You thought he was talking about of Abobi people. You thought he was talking about people who have muscles. You didn't understand that Mazin Nambikano was talking about people who have been influenced, who have been encapsulated, who have been engrossed by the teachings he was doing over time that Chukwokike gave him to prepare the men. He was actually talking about these people who have been prepared. So Mazin Nambikano was critically in line talking about those who have been dormant yet in activity, because secretly they were prepared by his words. So they were dormant, even if they have not been yet being actively or practically involved in carrying out the work they need to do for Biafra. But they were being prepared secretly in their dormancy. In that point of dormancy, they were being prepared by the words of Mazin Nambikano, by the teachings Mazin Nambikano was given, by the structure Mazin Nambikano was setting, and everything they were being groomed by the words of Elohim through Mazin Nambikano. They were dormant, but in activity. They were dormant in the sense that they have not been they have not started the formal execution of these programs, which we are doing right now, just like what ESN flag has been raised, and you see ESN and all of that doing their work. Now, most people too, even if they are being prepared to be in activity, even at the point of dormancy, are resisting it or are not able to get into that because the Nigeria system has already put in them a system or a virus structure, a system that has corrupted them totally so that they see corruption as the norm for themselves. So when you see people talk about don't ask for accountability, they are people who actually were not saturated by the words of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu over time. There are people who actually were dormant in dormancy. Because when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was teaching, they were not activated by the words of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They were just excited, and their excitement signalized or signified nothing because it was not making any input in them. They only heard Biafra. They keep hearing Biafra, Biafra, Biafra from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but they never understood the actual impression of Biafra on the mind. Biafra is first going to be gotten in the mind, because when Biafra is gotten in the mind, simply means that it removes the notion of Nigeria from your mind. Everything Nigeria represents, the corruption, the lack of accountability, nepotism, embezzlement, stealing, corruption, and everything you can talk about. All of these are attributes of Nigeria, are features of Nigeria. What Biafra does when it sinks into you, the preaching and the gospel of Biafra, is that it removes these faculties from your mind. If you were a thief, it makes you now get better. You refuse to steal anymore. If you were a criminal, you are no more criminal. So it is not until you begin to come and talk about Biafra, then we think that whenever you hear somebody talking about Biafra, doesn't mean they have been reorganized in their mind or revitalized in their mind learn. No. Doesn't mean that they have been reformed or renewed in their mind. No. The only time the only way to know when people have been renewed is when you begin to see their actions for Biafra. Their actions for Biafra. Yes, I'm back, Emeka. I'm back here. Now, Kennedy says freedom fighting is very expensive, not for poor people. You know, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu used to say that thing. That when you put when he always talked about Owazirike, that's because when you become poor and you now see money, you now run into it. But of course, I'm going to make an extension to that. The truth about it is that sometimes it is not about how much you have and the physical money you have that determines whether you are actually going to fight for Biafra in truth. It is about if your mind is rich. If your mind is rich. Now, do you know that there are some people who might be hungry, and yet you give them a food stolen, or you tell them to steal, they will not steal. They will not steal. Do you know that Jesus was hungry for 40 days, and Satan told him to turn stone to bread? He said no, because that was not the right way to get it. That was not the right way to get bread for him as at that time. You cannot go on the orders of a liar to get something to eat. When you find yourself in the situation where you could stand upright and you compromise, you have not yet been refined by the words of truth. Today, we have so many people busy and in activity, but yet they are dormant in the fight for Biafra. We have so many activities going on. Don't you observe it? Didn't you observe it? We had so many activities going on. Hey, no election in Biafra land. Hey, we'll make sure that now, you see, let me tell you people something. You don't know what has happened. Do you know that most of the men, most of our people, our young people that have been killed this 1 year plus, was because of the bragging of we are ready to engage the Nigeria government. We have the materials to shoot down aircraft. We have this, we have that, we have enough ammunition. We'll make sure we stop election. We have put everything in place to stop election. These are the words that stirred up the Nigerian military. They came to communities, they shot at people, they were killing our men, they were taking our young men, harvesting their organs. We stirred them up even if we were not prepared. That's a preaching for another day. So I'll say we, because we were also part of those who were promoting. We were so stupid that we were not asking questions then. So we were coming on. I'll come here. I'll promote it. No fly zone. Any helicopter that passes Biafra land, we'll shoot it down. The Nigerian military will bring their Nigeria Air Force will bring their helicopter. They will fly and begin to kill our people, and we don't shoot them down. I was part of promoting it because I was misled to believe, because I didn't ask to be accountable. I didn't ask to be sure. What I want to preach, is it true? Do we truly have what it takes to stop these things? I was believing in a lie. I didn't ask questions. Anytime you don't ask questions, you just believe things, you would be part of being, you will become part of those who will be blamed for the repercussion. But thank God I'm speaking out now, because all that Simon said that I preached also on this platform that didn't work out, I have used the truth to tell the people that this is not right. So I've exonerated myself from that. And I've told God, please, the blood of those who have died because of the boastings that we have done. Talking about how we are prepared to destroy the Nigerian military, talking about how there shall be no election. All the things that I've said, because I believed in a lie I couldn't verify, and people have died because of that. It's made Nigerian military come with helicopter gunships and killed our people. It made Nigerian military come with tanks and bombarded communities. It's made all these videos that we have, people shooting at people, and all of this stuff and all of those details. I'm looking for one of those videos where the military were shooting and they were speaking and all of that. These were because we were posting online that we are ready to take Nigeria government. And because they thought we are ready, they thought that every young person in Biafra land has a gun and has the weapon to counter them. So they started invading our land, killing our young men, taking them to custody and killing some of them, harvesting their organs and doing so many things to them because we were boasting. Lord, I have prayed the blood will not be on my head because I was acting ignorantly, and I've prayed the blood will not be on my head. And I've come to tell Biafrans what we did, we were wrong because we were preaching things we cannot verify. We could not verify. So the blood of these people who have died will not be on my head. Lord, please, I don't want to be part of those who would take that blame and would have the repercussion on my generation. And that's why I'm speaking. And if you are here, you are supporting this impunity. You are always supporting. We keep talking about these things, and you keep coming to fight us. You are supporting the impunity, the blood, just like the people said when they said if you kill Jesus. Pilate said, if you kill Jesus, you are going to be, if you kill Jesus, you are going to be guilty. They said, yes, kill him, crucify him. Let his blood be on our head and on our children, on our children's children. They told Pilate, kill Jesus. Let his blood be on our head and upon. That is why they could kill 6 million Jews. Adolf Hitler could kill them. That is why the Jews were dispersed all over the nations of the world. That is why the Jews are suffering until today, because they were talking about the blood of Christ being on their head. People don't understand the repercussion of these things. The repercussions. People don't understand these things. So I have prayed. All the boastings you have made, the blood will not be on my head. Those who have refused to repent, who are still misleading the people, talking to the people, those who are still supporting, those who are still misleading the people, God help you, because the blood will be on your head, just like the Jews said. It's not going to be on the head of those who have sinned, that yes, who will say, no, we can't support this impunity. We want things to be done well. Our people have died enough. We want things to be done well. So that is it. That is it. So many people are in activity, but yet they are dormant. You know why? They are busy, but what they are doing is not focused on restoring Biafra. That's what is happening. That is what is happening everywhere. The DOS, Simon Ekpa's crew, everybody who is not telling the truth, anyone who is supporting these people, not saying the truth, not giving account to Biafrans, you are actually part of those whose blood those who have died will be on their head. And I want to assure you that Biafra is going to come only in truth. And the easiest way to end Nigeria and to get Biafra fast is, first, change your mindset. Once we all change our mindset, we are going to get Biafra fast. Once we change our mindset, I tell you, once you remove Nigeria from your mind, that was what God was telling Israel. Those of them who were saying it is better we have gone back to Egypt and die in Egypt and eat the cucumber and everything, the onions in Egypt and the vegetables. God killed all of them. He said, you still have Egypt in your head, so you can't enter the promised land. Because they were reminiscing over Egypt. Some of you are reminiscing over Egypt by supporting impunity, because you have not removed Nigeria from your mind. When you keep Nigeria in your mind, you will continue to have the result of Nigeria play in your life. You will continue to have the activities of Nigeria play in your life. There's no way we can get Biafra thinking Nigeria. There's no way we can get Biafra reasoning Nigeria. There's no way we can get Biafra operating in the Nigeria style. We can only get Biafra by walking in truth, which is the cynosure of what Biafra represents. Remember, Biafra is to restore the world, to teach the world the path of uprightness and truth and justice, to teach the world how to be human, how to teach the world how to be humane, to teach the world what it means not to be a bigot, to teach the world how to love, no matter your color, your skin color, to teach the world how to respect other people, other tribes. Biafra is supposed to restore the conscience of the world. Biafra is meant to restore the details of the world, which is supposed to be embedded in truth. Biafra is supposed to teach the world how to walk in uprightness and still be prosperous. Biafra is supposed to teach the world that you are not supposed to steal people's mineral resources or natural resources or human resources before you prosper or progress. Biafra is supposed to teach the world that you don't need criminality to succeed. Biafra is supposed to teach the world what it means to stand, to be just, to be truthful, to stand in justice, to say what is right, and to say, call a spade a spade. Biafra is supposed to teach the world the order of Chukwu Okike. Biafra is supposed to bring the world back to God. But when you do everything that is contrary to these things that Biafra is supposed to teach the world, you are working against Biafra's spirit and the truth, and you are working in the light of Nigeria. And everything Nigeria cannot bring Biafra. No matter what you do, Nigeria cannot produce Biafra. That is why when Peter Obi came, we said you cannot bring Biafra. Peter Obi cannot go for presidency and bring Biafra. Anybody who promotes Nigeria cannot bring Biafra. And you promote Nigeria when your attitude, everything you do is in line with Nigeria concept. You promote Nigeria when you support impunity. You promote Nigeria when you are against accountability. You promote Nigeria when you are against transparency. You promote Nigeria when, because the person who is there, you love the person and they are calling the person for accountability, you say, no, you can't. Why will you be asking this person for accountability? You promote Nigeria when you are doing everything Nigeria represents. Every one of us know what Nigeria represents. Nigeria is not accountable. Nigeria is a criminal edifice. Nigeria is a criminal structure. Nigeria is a place of impunity. Nigeria is a place of evil. Nigeria is the place. Yes, somebody says in the time of Moses, did Joshua and Caleb ask of accountability from Moses? Can you imagine? Moses was accountable. If you don't know, let me give you scriptures. Moses was accountable. That was why he called on 70 elders to administer the truth to the people, and they judged the people rightly. Let me give you these facts. Moses was not accruing the whole thing to himself. He appointed elders when his father-in-law, a Midianite, a spiritual man, a man of justice, who was a chief priest of Midian, his father-in-law, whose daughter he married, the man told him, Moses, if you are going to succeed, you must be accountable. So you need 70 men to judge Israel. Let me teach you scripture. And so Moses appointed these 70 men, and each of them were administering a group of people. When they have issues, when they have things about credibility, when they have things about disagreements, land, and all of that, and whatever, or a space, or maybe to share something, their resources and all of that, and things that they came to these people. These people judged them. They were accountable, and they gave this account to Moses and told Moses this. They gave reports to Moses. This is how we are judging the people. And when these people are not satisfied, they come to Moses. Moses will give the right judgment. And Moses was accountable. And God was asking from Moses the details of how he's going about with these things. Listen to Mazin Amdukanu again. Listen.
Because what I am saying on Abumanyamini, our people are lame. They are weak. I am struggling to count how many men there are in Biafra land. There are no more men left. Weak, docile, and imbecilic. Weak. I don't know how we can take such people to war. I don't know how we can take men who are not men into battle and win. I am ashamed. Very, very ashamed. Nonetheless, we must preach this very gospel because man did not ask us to come. Chukwa Biama in heaven mandated that we should come. If not, that I was called to do this very work, I will not speak to any of you anymore. But Chukwa Biama said this very gospel must be preached, and we must preach it. I have prayed since yesterday up until now. My request is very simple. The same prayer I made in secret, I will make out here in the open. Chukwa Biama Biko. Since it is your intention that your kingdom will be restored upon this very earth, I need men. I need men. I did not say.
Now get it right here. Mazin Amdukanu said, our people are weak and imbecilic. But because men didn't send us, Chukwu Okike, you are the one who sent us to speak this gospel of truth. Because of that, I am going to continue to do the work. Since men didn't send us and you sent us, then give me men. Now listen, Mazin Amdukanu was attributing the gospel to God and not to man. That means he was not sent by any man, he was sent by God. And he said for that purpose, he's accountable to God. That means he must give account of everything to God. Ignore all these idiots. Now, Mazin Amdukanu said, the mission you have given is by you. Now, is it not a very serious offense for anybody to begin to think that you will favor anybody and you would try to manage truth because it has to do with somebody? Anytime you begin to favor men and begin to mince the truth or mince the truth because you want to please somebody, you have gone against the doctrines and the dictates of Chukwu Okike. At that point, you have made the project of man. Because idiot asking me to speak Igbo. Did I come here for you? Is Biafra project for you? Is it there to please you? Idiot. Is Biafra about Igbo language? When you go to adult ignorance, I'm preaching something very sensitive. You're coming here to talk about speak Igbo. Is Biafra Igbo? Don't you have the BBO people? You have Anang people. You have Calabar people. You have Esson. You have Isham. You have different tribes. You're coming to tell me to speak Igbo. Are you stupid? That's how you come with fake names and begin to. I know this must be one of those contracted by Simon or by DOS. Nonsense. It's time to listen to. Get your brains work well. You are here constituting nuisance. I think I came to Biafra Freedom to romance anybody. I came for serious business. I came to account to Chukwu Okike. If you are here to account to a human being, you are going to be destroyed by Chukwu Okike. So if you are here to please any man or any woman, and you see the truth and you hide it, the blood of those people who have died in Biafra land will be on your head and your generations to come over and over and over to the fourth generation. And that's the truth. The blood, if you are here, you are standing on lies and you are covering those who should be accountable to the people. The blood of those who have died will be on your head. And it's a promise. It's not from me, it is from God. Of course, Cecilia means blind. Now, Nnamdi Kanu said, Chukwuokike, if not that you have called me into this, that means it is not about any man, it's about you. Some of you don't understand that the mandate of freedom is about God, not about any man. See, God is using us to speak to you now so that you don't get into trouble. Some of you are just getting yourself into a bigger trouble. Because some of you, oh my God, you don't know what you're doing to yourself spiritually until when that destruction comes. We are telling the truth. We are preaching the truth. We're exposing the lies. We are giving you the pathway to truth. You are still Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. God has brought people to get him to help speak the truth about what he wants to do. Please, sorry, it's raining heavily here, and it is very, very heavy out there. So it is telling on the roof. So that's why my voice is very high and the noise on the background. Now, let me tell you, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said that because Chukwuokike has called him, if not for that, he won't talk to some of you because you refuse to allow the Nigerian mentality leave you. You are too greedy. You are too selfish. You are self-centered. You're concerned about yourself. You're concerned about your selfish ends. You are easily manipulated. You are just weak and imbecilic in your mind. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was talking to people who are weak and imbecilic. They are imbeciles because they cannot reason properly. Sorry, please. When you talk about imbeciles, you're talking about people who cannot process information on their mind. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was actually talking to people who has mental deficiency. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was proclaiming the gospel to people who cannot get Nigeria out of themselves. Because everything you see that has to do with negativity, if you talk about lack of transparency, it is a feature of Nigeria. If you talk about not giving accounts, it is a feature of Nigeria. If you talk about not being transparent, it is a feature of Nigeria. If you talk about criminality, it is a feature of Nigeria. If you talk about killings, ritual programs, and all of this evil, they are features of Nigeria. How come you are supporting such kind of features against people who are committing such kind of crimes, and you say you want Biafra? Why would you stand against accountability if you are against Nigeria? It is only those whose mindset is still programmed and designed under the auspices of Nigeria that would look at accountability and say, no, we don't want it. And the Biafra we want, the Biafra majority of the people want, is a Biafra of accountability. Let me tell you something. Don't mind the few of these people who are talking on social media. Majority of the people are for accountability. Majority of Biafrans are for accountability. People are waking up and calling for stories, are calling for the truth, and calling for the information. People are beginning to ask questions now. So I want to tell you that those of you who stand on the truth, keep standing on the truth. When you see the wrong, speak out so that the blood of the innocent Biafrans who are dead will not be on your head. Anytime you patronize lies and you see the truth, you don't speak, the blood of the innocent Biafrans will be on your head. Just like the Jews saw truth, they didn't speak. They condemned Jesus. That is what happens to those who stand on the path of truth. On the path of truth, they succeed and the blood is taken away. but those who stand on the path of lies are destroyed. He that is often reproved, but hardens his neck, shall suddenly be destroyed, and that destruction will come without remedy. Paul said in Romans chapter 9, he said, I say the truth in Christ, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness. I say the truth in Christ, I lie not. My conscience. Some of you, your conscience are dead. The actions that we carried has made some of our men to die. We were here preaching to Biafrans, telling Biafrans that we have the whole weapons. We are going to stop the election. We are going to promote. We are going to make sure that Nigeria election does not hold. We have everything to destroy the Nigeria gunships. We have everything to destroy the helicopters coming to shoot in our communities. We have everything that is in place to stop the election. All these things we preached, and the Nigeria agents were so much. You saw everywhere was shaking, including that a Brekete will come and begin to talk. Everybody was talking because they thought we have the weapons. They were now sending the military to our land. The military began to kill our men. The military began to kill our young men, able-bodied men, because we were boasting online, because we were telling everybody what we don't have, because we were telling them that if they bring their helicopters, we'll shoot them down. And they kept bringing the helicopters and killing our men. We kept telling them that we have weapons everywhere. We're going to stop election. We kept telling them things that we cannot do. And we were provoking the Nigeria authority, or the Nigeria agents. Let me not call them authority because they are criminals. We provoked them. They started killing our men. And yet, we are still on those lies. Yet, some of you cannot ask questions. Yet, some of you who are out there, instead of you to ask us that are inside, that know what is happening, ask us questions. Because we know information. We have information from the men on ground. We have information of what is happening, the things we discuss, even at meetings and committee meetings. We have information of what is happening with our men on ground. So we should be the one in position to tell you if things are going wrong or if things are going right. You cannot be ignorant and arguing with people who are telling you that something is going wrong. You cannot be out there and arguing with people who are inside, and you are putting your trust in a man, believing that that man cannot go wrong. Some of you have gone against the dictates of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, as he said. He said this battle is of Chukwu Okike. Some of you have gone against that, and all you do now is that you worship men. Some of you are worshiping Simon and Azuka. Some of you are worshiping Simon and Azuka and their image and their structure, because you are worshiping them by saying that they are too big to give account to a nation. Does it not worry you that Azuka's husband's account is used to take Biafra money? It doesn't worry you. Your conscience is soiled. Your conscience does not bear witness of truth anymore, and you are in trouble. You have gotten to the point of Romans chapter 1 verse 28. Reprobacy. Your mindset has become reprobate. That means a mindset that sees evil and does not get pricked, does not get disturbed. Just like the Fulanis, they are cutting people's head and they are shouting, Allahu Akbar. They are excited because they are now reprobate. That's it. That is it. So I want to tell you people, I know that with time, some of you will begin to understand, because you are only operating in ignorance. And because the issue of Nigeria has actually bastardized the mindset. That is why the British made it 100 years. Because they know that after 100 years, you are the one who will be holding Nigeria. You refuse to let Nigeria go. Isn't that what is happening now? From 1914 to 2014, our people are holding Nigeria. No, we can't leave Nigeria. Nigeria is our nation. They brainwash you over time. That is why today people can go all out and say Peter Obi is the one they are going to follow, knowing all well that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in jail, Mazin and Kanu is in jail. They are embracing people. Today, my birthday dedication. We'll make sure that that's what we do. And of course, it's already 1 hour 30 minutes here.